to see.
It's me, it's Johnny Boy. What a great day today. It's a great day because I'm down my mate Richie's place now, and he's going to make lots of coffee, tea, biscuits, toast, you name it, we're going to have it. We're even going to have some, the curried goat. Remember we had the curried goat? The lady the other day in Cardiff was talking about Jamaican, Caribbean porridge. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Hey, that's another story. Look, we're on this project now. We've got the digger down. This is where we're going to start. We're going to put some artificial grass in this area for the kids to play, okay? But what we got to do, you can see it's all sloping down. We got to think how we're going to retain the ground from the garden shed or the garden room, whatever you want to call it. But also we got to take all this out and we've got to put a proper sub base in. But this is going to allow us access to the other side of the garden. These are the projects I want to work on. Good, easy access. And as a lady said to me the other day, and it's a job I don't want to do, she said to me, you're going to have to go through the house, you're going to need some insurance. We all need insurance, but the fact is, she probably needs, or I would need some insurance on working in her kitchen, going through her kitchen, not the other way around. That's the first part out now. Ton of decent type one. It's a bit wet now, but I can get it in. Just turn the digger off a minute. When we look at this ground, it's a little bit dirty there on top. We're going to have plenty of depth. This is for our artificial grass area, but this area in itself is going to be the landing pad for all our materials coming into the garden. The most important thing when you're looking at sub bases is depth of dig and is it sufficient. But I think in this situation, well, I know in this situation that the ground is really stony underneath there. So and so it's not going to go anywhere. It's not soft at all. So we're going to be putting about 5 or 6 inches on here, and then we're going to be putting some grano to lay the artificial grass on. But this area originally now, well, will be now rather, is going to be the area for bringing all the materials, as I've said, and it's going to be able to service the rest of the garden going through, which we've got a little bit of a tight area through there, but we'll be able to get the digger through.
Stored ammunition and heavy machines.
These, in other words, are traitors. They're not the
and figuring out what's wrong. But I think that that's at the core of.
Question I always say, or an observation, is not how to be a landscaper, but why you want to be a landscaper. Well, definitely made a mess. Well, here we are. What a beautiful day. It's November. It's incredibly mild at the moment. You wouldn't believe that we were in November. What's the date, Nick? It's like 17th of November, and we haven't had no frost down here. I know up north they've had a few frosts in Scotland, up in Newcastle as well, but nothing round here. So what we've done is, on this project now, we're putting in a porcelain paving product in two different types of porcelain plank, and we're putting these squares in, these 800 by 800s. What I talk about so often on the internet is about good compaction of everything, and certainly the sub base should be the same as well. You need severe compaction, and when that whacker plate or compactor plate starts bouncing, you know that you've compacted it enough. But also there's a few rules that you should follow when installing a sub base. When we get down to the dig, what we call the substrate, and if I can explain this in simple terms, is that when you dig, your dig should be nice and flat. Okay, flat. I don't mean level, I mean flat, because also the other thing that we want to achieve is that our substrate should reflect the finished level of our wearing course, and our wearing course is our porcelain. So the fall on the dig, which we call the substrate, should have a fall, this is an exaggeration now of course, exactly as the wearing course in itself. Okay, then each level of stone that you put on your MOT, that should be flat and even as well, because your compaction is lost when the MOT type 1 is put in an undulated fashion. What it will do, it will tend to unbind. The engineering of the stone itself will lock in when it's put in nice and even. If it's undulated, you can be within 10 to 15 mil as undulated, going up and down, but really you want to get it as flat as possible. Any more than 15 mil, what's going to happen is your MOT is going to unlock, and when you get a bit of ground swell or ground even, what we call, it's going to start moving around, and that's when your paving will start coming loose. So it's so important to try and follow those rules. It will ensure that your patio will have some longevity. Well, I just want to show you, this is sort of day 3. All the decking is gone now and we've got the sub base in. We're going to have to address the sub base a little bit more and compact it and level it and get it right. But this is where we are. This is what we've done. I do worry about the tools being left on projects sometimes, but our customer is normally here. Yeah, down the side of the conservatory, got all the sub base in. We're going to have to put a small wall underneath that, but I just needed to get it in first. It would have made sense to probably do the block work first, but we had our stone coming, so I had to get that in. Now is the edging curb to keep it off this existing shed. This is going to be a paved area around here, and over this side this is going to be some artificial grass. And some people think that it's excessive putting sub base in for artificial grass, but it's going to maintain its integrity. We're a couple of pin curbs short on over there, and of course the other thing is that if they ever wanted to turn this into a driveway, it just take the grass up, reduce the area. There's loads of stone in here, but you can see it's looking good. It's in. Well, here we are under the awning. Well, I am anyway. Got the Ruby set up. Got a couple of little tables over here. They're all good to go. Got the side table there as well. yeah, it's just the weather. Well, there we are. We've got the concrete underneath this fence line here now, so that's going to retain when we put the blocks in. That's going to retain. That block will retain all this sub base, and we're putting plenty of sub base in, and we're putting it in elevations, in compacted elevations, to ensure we get good compaction. We want to keep off this side today, okay, and for the next few days, just to ensure that while the mortar's still green, then it's not going to move. So we've got to just keep off the edge. Well, it's the end of the day, and we've made good progress. Over the last week, we've got the sub base in, and we've got all the old decking away and some of the paving. And now today we've got all the tools in, we've got the awning in, we've got the ruby in, we're ready to go. And it's a real good feeling that you've made sort of progress. It's, what's it, 4:37 now, 4:37, and it's a good feeling that you've made progress even with the weather as bad as it is. It's been blowing a gale today, and certainly the rain as well. I mean, in Scotland the other day they had a month's rain in one day, and certainly today I think there was like something like 25 millimeters of rain. I don't know how that equates, but we had an awful lot of rain. But we're ready to go, and our pavement's coming tomorrow. We've got a foundation in over on this side, we've got a sub base over here, and the beauty about this project is that we can work over here, and if there's something we can't do on this side, we can come back on this side. And we've been doing some fencing as well, like, so pleased. Well, we're just dry laying some of the paving we're going to be using. We've got the porcelain wood effect planks on one side, and then we've got these 800 by 800s on this side. Just laying these out now just to show our customer. We've had our delivery today. This is some wood effect porcelain planks from Style. Look at those, they look absolutely fantastic. Really deep rich colour, and even picking up the knots here, they look really good. But that's going to be one area. In another area we're going to be laying these 800. Let me just pick them up, you can just be able to see. Got to be really careful with your porcelain when you're moving around that you don't chip the edges, because you have to use it for a cut otherwise. But look at those, they look good. They're 800 by 800. They are the Belmont range, I believe. We'll find out, but they're good. I like the colour of them, real contrasting colour, very very light. It's going to lift the whole area up and make it look very light and spacious. But also what we've got for a future client who wants some 600 by 600, we're gonna have to keep the packaging on these. Italian porcelain, look at these, 1.2s by 600. They look great. I've got 3 samples to show a potential client. But I don't know, what do you think? Porcelain planks, the 800 by 800, or the 1.2 by 600? What's trending in your opinion? Nick, we'll put these samples in now for this customer, but can we just have a little walk round and you can explain to our viewers
what are we doing?
Yeah, and what we've done today and where we are and what we're going to be tomorrow. But come on, get that one in now. Come on, chop, chop, chop. The wheelbarrow down. There you are. So Nick, we've done some fencing here the other day.
We did.
Got the posts in because we've brought the fence
forward.
Yeah, not too far, have we?
No, put a metre forward to increase the playing area for the children with the artificial grass.
And also, we don't want to go back too far forward because we still want to have a driveway, don't we?
Yes.
Right, take us round, Nick, and just explain.
Go on, come follow me.
So this area we've been using as a.
This is our prep area.
Yeah.
Ready for cementing. So when you're ready to lay, I'll be mixing up my not too dry, not too wet mix.
Yeah.
Semi-dry mix ready for you.
Sounded really well said.
Thanks.
And we've got the edging curbs around this area the edging restraints to maintain the integrity, isn't it? Of the.
Yeah, for the grass we've got another 2 or 3 to put down on the far side.
Yeah, because
once we know how far we were going with the gate.
And take us over there, Nick.
Follow me.
Yeah. Walk this way.
Walk this way.
Good sub basing round here.
Yeah, we've still got to play with the level slightly, but I'm sure you'll do that tomorrow with the laser.
And we've got the edging curbs down here as well.
Yeah, we may have to adjust them slightly, but we'll see how we go with that. So today we've put in some block work
And
to
some,
retain,
and some commons, yeah.
yeah, some block work to retain the stone.
And they're not pretty, but they're not meant to be pretty, are they?
No, you don't have to be, because we're laying directly on top of them with the slabs.
Yeah.
So the water then will run off into the stream behind.
Yeah. And that's fine, isn't it?
That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it's for.
And if we walk through here, Nick, if you want to come and join me around here, I'll just wait for you around here. Ah, look at this. We're all good to go. You've got the slabs laid out.
Yeah, we've discussed it with the customer this afternoon. So we're going to have the porcelain planks on the far side for the kind of seating dining area.
Yeah.
And then we're going to use a contrasting colour for a separate area for when they come out of the conservatory, but with the larger profile square slabs rather than the...
And a lot lighter.
And a lot lighter.
Look, some people may not be able to see what we're trying to achieve at the moment, do they?
No.
What do you think how it's going to come out?
I'm starting, now we've put down the slabs, I'm starting to see the design a little bit better.
Yeah.
But we're getting there.
Nice porcelain, it?
Yeah, lovely. Really nice.
Good service.
Yeah.
Ordered these...
Styled, wasn't it? Styled or
Yeah.
tiled?
Styled.
Styled.
Yeah.
Ordered
Styled and tiled.
yesterday, delivered today.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. There you go. So, when all you guys at Ruby are in that nice, warm, dry office, look at these guys.
This is where we are.
So here we are, we're on our current project, and this is what contractors have to put up with on a regular basis across the country. And I take my hat off to them. You know, there's that old saying that lollipop ladies work in the wet, but they don't dig in the wet like we're doing. And certainly now, this is a real testing time. We're in tough times at the moment, and this is what contractors have to put up with. So if you now are having some work done, you're a consumer across the country, invite your contractor in, make him a cup of tea, maybe a French fancy, but don't tell your husband. Stop. Level. So if you look at that, that's 50 mil in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 50 mil. So some of our sub base has to come off here then.
Yeah, because we said we
Oh,
drag
you
it down
mean?
round,
Yeah.
didn't we?
So if that's 65 mil. So we're approximately working on 10 mil to a metre. So from that point over there on the corner of the building, it is approximately 5 metres. So we've got 50 millimetres lower on this point. That's our finished level here, okay? And what we're allowing 50 mil for our mortar bed. So that there is our finished level of our sub base. So some of this sub base can actually be raked off and re-whacked. We've got to have a fall on there, but you've got to reflect the levels in your sub base as what you're doing with your top. You want your sub base to be nice and flat, but with a fall on reflecting the finished level. How many times have I said that? Yeah, because they're saying that they're not performing, but you can't have it, can you?
What?
That's what I work. It's not. what I was talking about, the undulation, if you have an area that's got a bit of a ridge in, you need to basically, what we used to say years ago, iron it out, almost like an iron going over those wrinkles. You get the high points out to try and make the whole area nice and flat and even. That's what we want, nice and even. I think that's enough of compacting now. But for me personally, when I think of compaction, is that I just feel as if you can never compact enough. You really need to give your sub base a real severe compaction. I know you're going. Look, we're mixing some priming slurry up now. The priming slurry goes on the back of the slab. It acts as a bridge bond between the slab and the mortar bed. Now, I don't mean to sound sarcastic, but we've done this so many times. I think this is the part of the videos that absolutely drives me insane. But apparently, what it is, not everybody's seen the 1600 videos I've done on it before. So, but they are there. If you want to watch the video all the way through, you'll be able to see it. Nicky was going to do this now, but I just needed to do some talking. At this point, Nick's got plenty to say, so Carl, if you want to film Nick, he's going to talk us through the project. Seems as if we're being really sarcastic this morning, but it just gets a bit frustrating because we do want to get on. Bit of dry stuff on the side there. No, I'm not trying to be sarcastic this morning or cocky or anything, but we are trying to get on. It does reflect your mood. So what we have here is a Porcelain 760 by 760. I've been saying they're 800s, Nick, by 800s, and they're not. This is the Belmont range from Styled. Am I getting paid to say this? No, I'm not. Would I like to get paid to say this? Yes, I would. So Styled Paving, if you're watching now, no, anyway. So what we got, come and have a look. This is our slurry, okay? It's almost like cream cheese. That's the only way to describe it, okay? If we go back, they are trying to make this a British standard now about putting slurry as a bridge bond,
Edge.
and he says it as a bridge bond on the back of your slab. So look at that, lovely. And so what we don't want to be doing is rolling on. That probably may be too much. So all I do is put those on there like that. Probably just going to be just the amount. And I think some people say to me sometimes that I should slow down, and I'm rushing. Because what they say in the military, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. But sometimes, once you've picked up technique on how to do these things, it is quite simple. Look at that. Right to the edge. The British Standard now says, well, they're saying, I don't know if they've made it a British Standard or not, I'm not quite sure. Can you hear me? Because of the noise? So I don't know if there's going to be a British Standard or not. They're saying go right to the end. A lot of guys will only go within an inch so they can pick it up. But then, and you don't get it all on your fingers and get it on your slab. But the amazing thing is, Nick, this slurry all sticks on the back of the slabs, but I've had slurry on the face of the slabs before and it comes off. It does come off. And I think that's because of the finish that's on the porcelain. So if you look at that, so this is one I made earlier and we'll let it rest. So I ordered the other day some plastic bags and they sent me these paper ones. We have covered them up, they're nice and dry. There's nothing worse when you're working in these weather conditions and you come in the morning and all your bags are actually gone solid because they're paper.
Yeah, I've got off of it.
No, they're right. Look at this. If you look now, come here, come close, you can see that when we do that, that's forming a ball, okay? It's forming a nice ball there. Look, nice. There you are, squeeze it in. And there's not just bits of cement, it's thorough. It's consistent all the way through in mix, which we've done in literally how many minutes? 3 or 4 minutes that you wouldn't be able to do in a mixer. It's done. A bit of shoveling. A bit of shoveling never killed anyone, did it? No. Not yet, anyway. So the depth of our mortar in this nick, we're going to have approximately about 50 mil. You don't. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to just give it a bit of a tap down like that. Okay, so we know that it's compacted all over. Okay, you will see the thickness. Granted, it's a little bit thicker on that side, but as we're coming back this side, we're not using copious amounts of mortar, but it is a little bit on there, and that's why it's important to get your sub bases correct. Okay, so we're just tapping that down. That'll give it some compressive strength, and then what we'll do here, I'm not rushing. We'll put the level on here like this, because that level is going to reflect that line. Okay, so we put the level on here like that, and we can see that there's a fall going this way, so we just make it level, just taking a little bit off. Okay, there we are, all the way through, so we know that that's approximately correct. Okay, from A to B, we know that's level. Now you can just clean that off. Make sure when you're using a trowel that you don't go across and chip your slab, because you're going to have to pick it up. So I guarantee you the customer will pick it up at some point. Nick, I know down that side I splashed a little bit on the slab, so if we can get that slurry off there, that'd be good, if you don't mind, mate. So if we just clean away down the side of the slab, come and have a look at this, Kyle, just from this angle going through, so our viewers can actually see it. So what we've got is just clearing that away there, because what we want to do is we want that joint nice and clear, and to ensure that the grout will actually get down nice and deep. Okay, that's so important. And the other thing, of course, is that when we lay our slab, I'll show you in a sec, we'll lay it nice and tight. Now what we can actually start doing, we can actually just start loosening the bed up a little bit in places, so we can put our slab on. There we go. I know that that's going to tap down. Granted, there are a few little lumps in here because of the mortar the sand that was on the floor, that was left on the floor from the last time. But there we are, we're nearly there. Let's put the slab down. I have several buckets of clean water, not one or two. You want several if you can do it. And you just clean the slurry off your hand as you go. Shovel there, make sure you don't trip up. Okay, this is our slab. Now, I could use a suction cup on this, but I'm okay. So, pick the slab up, corner to corner. When we put our slab down now, you can see it all slurried up. We're going to lay our slab nice and tight. There is a little bit of slurry on there, but we don't want to chip. That was hard for me with my legs. I'm not exactly a giraffe. So, there we are. Now, before we go any further, what I'll do, I'm just going to put my spirit level on top of that slab. Okay, so we put it on. We know it's higher and it's more or less level. There's a slight fall going that way, but I know that there's enough to actually tap down there. We're going to clean that off in a minute, but that's looking good. And remember, we've got our string line there where we're going to tap down to. What we need to do is to ensure, before we start tapping this down, which I've just done, is to make sure that the mortar under the slab is well pushed in on the edges. There we are. And we know we're going to get good compaction. And you can actually see there on this bit that the water bed is only approximately no more than 50 mil thick, which is okay. We could go a little bit less. There you are. That's worked in, and we've got to do the same on this side. Cut. Right, now we've got the mortar under the slab. We put our level on and we can see what we need to do. That's near enough level there. When we're tapping, though it needs to go down on this side, I'm not just going to tap on this edge. I'm going to go past the halfway line, and probably about 3/4, 2/3 to actually get it down. If I tap down on this edge, okay, then it's got to go down on this edge, it's going to come up on that side there. So we don't go down all the way. Pull the level just off center, and then we can go on the 2/3 part, so we're more or less center there. So if we do this, and remember I've got my knee on here to stop it bouncing. Work the level, see where the bubble is. Now you can see that I'm hitting that with some force, and that will tell you that we know that we've got good compressive strength. It's compacted underneath. If we look at that side now, it's just coming down a little bit, but just a little bit high on this side. So we can go back over to this side now, okay, and we can just push some of that underneath there. Remember, we pushed that in with the slab before. There we are, it's coming up nicely. In fact, we can just turn it around like we've always used to do. Make sure our mortar is in. There we are, that's looking good. Do I use self-leveling systems? No, because I feel that with self-leveling systems, when you wind them down, it'll just pull the slab off the surface. This has got full contact under the slab everywhere, full contact. There we are, that is level. Going to clean the slurry off now, but that's looking good. So Nick has just mixed that up, and look at that. That is almost a perfect mix. Look at that, a lot better than the first mix, because the mix we had on the floor was a little bit, there was hard lumps in it. But look at that, look, absolutely perfect. Look, that's really good. That's really. Can you imagine, Nick, for one moment? Just film me here. Can you imagine if you got the same quantities with that, with a wet mix? You could squeeze it together in the same volume, but what happens when the water evaporates? You're left. Yeah, it'll crumble. Absolutely. That's the thing you've got to try and realise. This is the way that we always did it. This is probably the way that the Romans did it. Did you know that?
I don't think that's meant.
Did you know any Romans?
No. You?
Oh, no. Anyway. So when I was talking about crowning earlier on, if you look at that now, see the wobble? That's not anything underneath the level, that's the slab. So these slabs, the feature of it, the texture of it, is their crown in the middle here, and they're crowning that there as well. So it will bevel off, and we're talking about a mil and a half in places. Well, we've got this area in. Nick's run the cuts in along this side here. That's ready for the picture frame, but we're not going to do that today. So important to allow that to go off, okay? The same as this side. The picture frame needs to go along that side, which we'll be showing you in a later video. But what we're doing now, we're cleaning off this area, making sure there's no slurry marks on top of it, get this clean. But what we want to try and do is we want to try and reduce the amount of water content on the top of the surface, because that water, though this was laid yesterday, could still start freezing tomorrow, and then your paving may start popping. So really, we don't want to be putting too much water on this area now. So what I want to show you is where we're heading next. Come and have a look. Somebody's going to say, why haven't I got my knee pads on? Well, I don't know why I've got my knee pads on, but we've got a job to do. Well, we're getting our bed ready now. We're coming down this side. Well, what we're doing, as I said, we're coming down this side alleyway now, and that bed there has had good compaction. We've been walking backwards over it, and we have compacted it with a trowel. But what we're doing, we're just getting the bed ready now in preparation to take our next slurried slab. Don't forget to slurry all your paving. It's an absolute must now. When you're sticking porcelain down to a mortar bed, you've got to make sure, especially when it's a semi-dry, you've got to make sure you've got a slurry bond on the back. And certainly there's some really, really good products out there that you can use. I'm using priming slurry at the moment, and it works perfectly for me. But there are other good ones as well that you can use. I'm not particularly saying use any one, but there's some that you probably need to avoid. The ones that you need to avoid are the ones that you mix up yourself, because there's no consistency in those. Not good at all. SBR and just cement and a bit of sand is not always the best. You've got to remember is that these companies spend a huge amount on research and development in producing good priming slurries with good polymers. Polymers having that flexibility, and it's something that we can't put in ourselves. Anyway. Well, there you go. Got the path nearly all the way along this back, as well as the cuts. We haven't got the picture frame in. If you come round here, you'll be able to have a look at the patio that we've actually laid. Do it again, Kyle. You can walk on there.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to keep the camera still more than anything.
Yeah, but you can walk on there. Well, in this area, it was just that little bit deeper, and we didn't want to put a type 1 stone in because we never quite had the depth on it, and we just wanted to make it up just a little bit. And the best way to do it is obviously with a lean mix. The thing is about the type 1, the stone's too thick, so we put a lean mix in. A lean mix is basically a weaker concrete mix as a semi-dry, okay? There's enough moisture in there to bring it together, enough moisture to start the curing process. And the other thing, what it will do, it will have good compressive strength, which is more important than anything. We need to start reducing the cement, what we're putting in things now, because cement can be detrimental in some cases. It will shrink, it will expand, it will do everything, okay, in some cases that you don't want it to do. And but in this case, it's going to do everything that we need it to do. And what we're looking for is the compressive value, the compressive strength value, as opposed to the cement just being just like concrete. This is a lean mix. In America they call it RCC now. It's called roller crushed concrete, or roller compacted concrete I should say, and they're using it in large formats, and it's just reducing the carbon footprint as well, but it's working. That's the thing. It's a good wearing course. It's a fact that you don't want anybody walking on your paving when you first laid it. But the thing is about using a semi-dry mix, so be careful with these, but in some cases you can actually walk on it, especially when you're using bigger units like the 800s by 800s. And certainly the next day you can walk on it if you need to gain access, and we're going to need to do that this morning with the wheelbarrow. The thing is, it's got good compaction, which means good compressive strength. Good morning. I'm squinting here because the sun's out. Yeah, the sun is out at last, isn't it? It's in January. It's the bank holiday Monday, so got to do some work now this morning. Let me just show you where we are at present. This is where we are. We've got the bulk of the paving down, what we call the field paving down, and we started to go along with the picture frame over that side. So what I want to try and do today is I want to get one cut in the mantle over here, one cut in there. Could try and finish it, but it's best just to get one in there, get the one done. We know that's going off, and let it go off, and then I'll be able to work off that when I do the next bit. I've got some picture frames to do along there, but we may be having a step on that side, and I want to also start getting the picture frame down along here. We've cut it in, just got to cut these to size now and get a half bond going down there, and we're going to do it, make some progress first day back. there we are, that's the first day of the new year completed. It wasn't a full day, okay, it was the bank holiday, the day after the New Year's Day itself, so I just had to get in, and I normally go to work after Boxing Day and crack on with the daily grind, and I wasn't able to do it this year simply because the copious amounts of rain that we were receiving in the area. But I've managed to get on this morning. I've got the edging frame, the picture frame rather, around there, and got some cuts in, was able to complete the mantle, the inspection tray over there, and it's done, and lots more to do, but I feel so much better knowing that I was able to get on, and it's put me in a good mindset. Progress. So as long as you're not killing yourself, it's progress.